Welcome back to the channel. My name's Tom, and today I'm taking a look at Quaker Bridge Mall in Lawrence Township, New Jersey. When it comes to the question of is this mall dead, dying, or doing just fine, I would say it probably just barely qualifies as doing just fine. In my opinion, based on what I've seen, it seems to be doing better than the nearby Oxford Valley Mall, Neshaminy Mall, Philadelphia Mills, and Plymouth Meeting Mall, but not quite as well as Willow Grove Park or King of Prussia Mall. I'd say it falls somewhere in the middle of the pack, but come along with me and let me know what you think. This mall opened in 1976, despite Wikipedia and a few other sites claiming it opened in 1975. I'm fairly certain that it opened in 1976 because I found a copy of a newspaper article from 1976 stating that the mall was set to open in March of 1976. If that's wrong, though, please let me know in the comments. It was developed by Macy's and Kravco under the legal name Lawrence Associates and was designed by Daverman Associates. Kravco also developed the nearby Whitehall Mall, King of Prussia Mall, and Oxford Valley Mall. Kravco became partially owned by Simon Property Group in the 1990s and then became 80% owned by Simon in 2003. Simon continues to manage the mall today, as you can see by the A Simon Mall signs all over the place. Like most Simon malls, the mall has a very clinical look, with the overwhelming color scheme being shades of white and beige. I wouldn't call the mall unattractive, but it does feel kind of bland and generic to me, like most other Simon malls. The original anchor stores were Bamberger's Haynes, which was located straight ahead. The Haynes was there until 1989, and then it became a Lord & Taylor in 1990. The Lord & Taylor finally closed in very early 2021. The other two original anchor stores were JCPenney and Sears, and not surprisingly, the only remaining original anchor store is JCPenney. Some other early stores included Woolworths, Hickory Farms, Spaceport Video Arcade, and KB Toys, among dozens of others. There was also a 4-screen AMC movie theater that was here from 1977 until the late 90s, but I'm not exactly sure where the AMC theater used to be. As I mentioned, the mall today is rather bland as far as the color scheme goes, but that wasn't always the case. Here's some photos I found online of the mall before its first renovation, which occurred around 1988 or so. The photos are pretty low resolution, but as you can see, the mall was originally very colorful, like most 70s malls. It also featured numerous water fountains, most of which were removed during the 1988 renovation. Here's the only remaining original anchor store, JCPenney. Now, I had read online that they rebuilt the building back around 2008 to 2012, but when you look at the building from the outside, it's very clearly the original building from '76. So I don't know if they just never did the rebuild or they maybe only redid the interior. If anybody knows, please let me know in the comments. I believe this escalator was added in 2012 during yet another renovation of the mall. In addition to announcing that they were going to be rebuilding the JCPenney, they also announced in 2005 that they were going to be adding an entire new wing to the mall to include a Neiman Marcus and a Nordstrom's, but because of the recession in 2008, that never happened. And again, I'm not sure if they ever renovated the JCPenney or not, because that also would have included a new parking deck for the JCPenney, but I didn't see any parking deck there. But if I'm wrong, again, please let me know. On the left, you can see it says Foot Locker coming soon. This was filmed a few months ago, so I would assume that the Foot Locker is open by now, but I don't know for sure. I also read that they added that elevator there to the left back in 2012. Based on that sign that says "Stay tuned, more shopping, dining, and entertainment is in the works," hopefully that means they're going to be putting something new in this Lord & Taylor soon, but I didn't see anything about it online. The mall definitely has a few high-end stores like Coach, Swarovski, and Michael Kors, but overall I would say that this is what I would consider like a mid-range mall. It's nowhere near as high-end as, say, for example, the mall at Short Hills. So there are a lot of stores here that I probably would shop at, and I think if I lived in the area, this probably would be one of the main malls I would come to. I think it reminds me most of my local mall, Buckland Hills Mall in Manchester. That's probably the most similar mall that I can think of. I don't know for sure, but I think this green thing here probably used to be an elevator. Just by the way it looks, but I don't know for sure. And we'll have to take a look at the Macy's in just a second, because that's a security guard standing right there. So just to avoid potentially getting kicked out of the mall, I decided to avoid him for right now, but I will come back to the Macy's in a minute. The current food court to this mall is located on the second floor. It was moved there in 2012, but before that, the food court was on the first floor. I'm guessing this might be where the original food court was located, just because there's still a few restaurants down here. But if I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comments. I'm pretty sure that must have been an elevator at one point, right? That green thing? And if it was, why did they remove it? Alright, so now that the security guard's gone, let's take another quick look at the Macy's. This was the location of the original anchor store Bamberger's, and it was here from 1976 until it became the Macy's in 1986. It's kind of odd how some parts of this mall are fairly busy, and then you get this section of the mall and there's barely anybody in sight. At the end of the hall here, this is where Sears used to be. Sears was here from 1976 until it finally closed in 2018. And they've got another sign up here indicating something new is going to be going in there, but once again, just like with the Lord & Taylor, I didn't see anything online indicating any specific plans. I guess this is what qualifies as an arcade at this mall. Kind of reminds me of the so-called arcade that they have at the Sono Collection in South Norwalk, Connecticut. It's basically just like that, a row of claw machines. At least that one wasn't claiming to be an arcade. According to my research, where that Old Navy is today, that used to be Woolworths up until the late 90s. I guess this Foot Locker moved down to the first floor. Here's the food court, which was added in 2012. Before that, like I mentioned, it used to be on the first floor and was a bit smaller. They've got a pretty good selection of restaurants here, in my opinion. And at the time I filmed this, they were all occupied except for one of the spots. But that empty spot said that there was another restaurant coming soon. So it may be fully occupied today, which is unusual because, like I've said before, most malls I go to, like half of the restaurants in the food courts are closed or more. There's a little play place back there. And of course, it just wouldn't be a mall if at least one of the escalators wasn't out of service. So now that you've seen Quaker Bridge Mall, let me know what you think about it. Again, I say it's doing just fine. Might be getting towards the dying mall or struggling mall stage, but I don't think it's quite there yet. Of course, let me know what you think about that in the comments. And don't go anywhere yet. As always, I'm going to do a drive around to the mall and we can see what it looks like from the outside. But before we do that, actually, let's take a quick look around the Macy's here and this cool QB sign out front. I thought this area out here looked really nice. It might be slightly overgrown, but it was really beautiful, really peaceful, and my only suggestion would be maybe add a couple benches here, so if you wanted to sit and just take in the atmosphere, you could. But other than that, this is a nice little area. Wish more malls had areas like this. As I mentioned earlier, I had read that the JCPenney building was reconstructed around 2008 to 2012 roughly, but this clearly to me looks like the original exterior from 1976. So I'm guessing if they did do a renovation of the JCPenney, it must have been all internal. Because there's no way this is from 2010 to 2012. This cheesecake factory opened in 2012. During the 2012 renovation of the mall, they also redid the entrances. And here's what the entrances used to look like. Here's the Macy's, which was originally Bamberger's, and I would say other than the fact that it says Macy's on it, I would guess this pretty much looks like it did back in 1976. This used to be Sears up until 2018, and I don't think I've seen any other Sears where they had this covered section like this. This used to be the Sears Auto Center. Here's the old Haynes building, which became the Lord & Taylor in 1990. And one thing I've noticed with most of the closed Lord & Taylors is that most of them still have their signs up, which is not the case at most other stores that have gone out of business. Not sure why that is. And there you have it. That's the Quaker Bridge Mall. I hope you liked the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment, and hit that notification bell. I've got a lot more mall videos coming up, as well as store walkthroughs and flea markets. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.